Hello guys. So in this session we are going to learn how to deploy a Node.js app on EKS using GitLab CI CD. So here you can see this is my GitLab repository with the name deploy Node.js app on AWS EKS using GitLab CI CD. So let's start. So as you can see here, this is my article. So we are going to follow this. So yes, first of all, let's check our prerequisites. So here, as you can see, first of all, we need a GitLab account. Then we need a EKS cluster access, and then we need a GitLab runner, and we need a Git pre-install Helm on our GitLab runner, right? So here you can see we have a GitLab account and we have GitLab project with the name deploy Node.js app on AWS EKS using GitLab CI CD. After that, we need a EKS cluster. So I have already created EKS cluster. Then we need a GitLab runner. So here I have already installed GitLab runner. So let's check. Okay. So here we need to install GitLab runner, right? Okay, so how to install? So as you can see, this is my article to install GitLab runner. If you don't know how to install GitLab runner, then you can follow my article. So now first of all, we need to add this official GitLab repository using this command. So I'm going to add this. So yeah, it's done. Now the next is we need to install GitLab runner using this command. So I'm going to install. So as you can see, it's done. So we have successfully installed GitLab runner. If I go to my home page and on the ls command, you can see GitLab runner. Okay. Now we have successfully installed GitLab runner. Now let's register our GitLab runner. So how to register? So here is the command to register our GitLab runner. Sudo GitLab runner register. So let's register. So first of all, let's register our GitLab runner. So let's paste the command. It will ask GitLab instance URL. So go to the GitLab account, your project, and go to the settings, then CI CD. Then as you can see, runners are processes that pick up and execute CI CD jobs for GitLab. So click on expand. And here, as you can see, as of now there is no any active runner, right? So we need to click on new project runner. Then choose Linux, then enter a tag. So my tag will be EKS new, then details optional, configuration optional. So I'm going to keep as it is and click on create runner. Now here, as you can see, the URL. So let's copy the URL and enter in your terminal. After that, it will ask your token. So here is the token, right? So let's copy the token also. Now it will ask the name of your runner. So my name will be EKS new. Then enter an executor. So my executor will be shell. So as you can see, runner registered successfully. So let's check. So go to the project and wait for a few seconds. Okay, now you can see you have created a new runner. So click on go to the runners page and let's check our runner. Okay, so here's our runner. So click on expand. Now as you can see, our runner is online. You can see runner is online, right? Okay. Now click on edit and check this run untagged job as well as log to current project and click on save changes. Okay, so it's done. Now we have successfully installed runner and we have successfully registered our runner. So we need a helm, right? We need to install helm. So here I have already installed helm. If I run the helm version commands, you can check my helm version. Okay, that means we have successfully installed helm. Okay, so it's done. Now let's check the first step. So the first step is we need to create project with our GitLab, right? So as you can see here, we have successfully created our project with the name deploy node.js app on AWS EKS using GitLab CI CD. Okay. Now the next step is create .gitlab ci.yml. Okay, that we'll create. So first of all, let's check our third step. So first of all, let's create agent. As you can see, first of all, let's check our agent is operate or empty. So how to check? So first of all, go to the operate and click on Kubernetes cluster agent. So now you can see here we need to connect to our cluster. So if I click on connect to a cluster and click on this scroll down, you can see no matching result. That means as of now there is no any agent. We need to create first, right? So how to create? So let's check. So first of all, here install GitLab agent for Kubernetes cluster. So how to install? So this is the official repository, sorry, official page, right? So let's check. So here you can see this is the official page of GitLab. How to install agent, you can see the details. If you want, then you can go to the official site and you can check this. You can see create an agent configuration file. So how to create, you can see the steps to create an agent configuration, be unique and so on. You can see the details, right? Then you can see here. So you can see the details of your agent, right? You can see the second step in the repository, the default branch and create an agent configuration file root. That means first of all, we need to create .gitlab a folder, then agents folder, then agent name. So my agent name will be our cluster name, right? Remember this, our agent name is our cluster name, right? That we have created. Agent name will be our cluster name, then configuration.yaml, right? So that's the steps to how to create our agent, right? That means our configuration.yaml file, right? You can see here. First of all, create an agent. So the here, so the location is, you can see first of all .gitlab, then agents, then agent name, that means our cluster name, then config.yaml file. Okay, so you can see here I mentioned agent name means our EKS cluster name. Okay, so now for then next is here in agent here we need to create this config.yaml file. So in config.yaml file, the data, right? So you can see the details. That means that's the official site. If I go to this official site to config.yaml file, how to create config.yaml file. So let's check. So here is our config.yaml file. You can see the following snips show an example to possible keys and values of GitHub section of an agent configuration file. That means config.yaml file. So you can see the details. So first of all, ID. So here we need to enter our project ID, right? Then reference, then branch. Okay. Then details, default namespace, and paths and so on. So you can see here we need to change our project ID, then branch. If you want to change namespace, then you can change, then path of your globe file, right? So that's the details of about our config.yaml file. Okay, so here let's create. So first of all, go to the here. So let's create our file. So go to the code and go to the repository. So here let's create our config.yaml file. That means let's create agent, right? So click on this new file and let's enter the path. So first of all, we need to create .gitlab folder. Then agent, right here you can see, then agents, then sample. As you can see here, the path you can see, right? So my agent name is here, my agent name is sample, so that's why here I mentioned sample dot gitlab agent sample, then config.yaml file. That's why here I mentioned sample, right? Because my agent name is sample. Okay, now then our YAML file. So here in our official repository you can see our YAML file. So I'm going to copy my YAML file here and let's paste here. So here we need to change, right? So first of all, here we need to change our project ID. So here we need to enter our project ID. So how to find our project ID? So first of all, go to the project. So my project name is deploy Node.js app on AWS EKS, right? So here is my project and here is my project ID, right? You can see. So I'm going to copy my project ID. Let's copy and paste here. Okay. Now the next is here. So the next step is here we need to enter this here our YAML file, our node app.yaml file. So first of all we need to create first. So that's why here I'm going to comment these lines, right? As of now we don't have any globe file, so that's why I'm going to comment these files, right? So then name here branch, so enter our branch name. So my branch name is main. Okay, then default namespace, so I'm going to enter default, right? Then here in pass I'm going to comment this globe files. As of now we don't have any globe files, right? Then keep as it is, right? Okay. So here we have changed our ID, project ID, then our branch name, then default namespace, and then globe files path, right? Okay. Now let's commit changes. So as you can see, we have successfully created our file with the name config.yaml file, right? Okay, now let's check the next step. Now the next step is here, register GitLab agent, right? Here. How to register GitLab agent? So first of all here, if you want to check the official site, then you can go to this official site to how to register GitLab runner. So first of all, here let's check our Kubernetes. So Kubernetes cluster. So how to check? So first of all, go to the operates and go to the Kubernetes cluster and let's check now it's empty or not. Before creating our agent, there is no any cluster, right? So it's empty. Now let's check our cluster. So click on connect to cluster and let's check the drop down. Now as you can see, samples. Why? Because sample is our cluster name, EKS cluster name, and now sample is our agent name also, right? So before creating cluster, there is no any cluster, it's empty, right? So now we have create our cluster. So if I click on this drop down, there is a sample file, right? That means our agent name. So click on this, select and click on register. Now we are going to register our agent, right? Okay. So now you can see the commands. So first of all, you can see the access token and now install using Helm. So first of all, we need the Helm. So that's why here in my terminal, we have installed Helm, right? Now let's run this command. So you can see from a terminal, connect your cluster and run this command. So the token is included in the command. So use a Helm version compatible with your Kubernetes version. So now let's run these commands. First of all, we need a Helm. So that's why here I have already installed Helm. And now let's run this command to register our runner. Sorry, register our agent. Now the next is Helm repo update. Okay, it's done. And now let's run this command to register our agent. So you can see it's done. Thank you for installing GitLab agent, right? Okay. Now let's check. Now click on close. As you can see, the connection status never connected. Now let's refresh the page and let's check after register our agent. Let's check the status. Now the status is connected and last contact just now, and the agent ID and the configuration, as you can see, .gitlab agent sample and then our config.yaml file. Okay, that means we have successfully registered our agent, right? Okay, that means it's done, right? Okay, now the next step is here, register runner with GitLab project. Okay, we have successfully registered our runner, right? Okay. Now here the next step is we need to create node app.yaml file, right? So let's create our node app.yaml file. So how to create? So first of all, go to the code and go to the repository and let's create. So now let's create our node app.yaml file, right? So let's create. So I'm going to create new file here. Node app.yaml, right? And here is the file. Okay, so now let's understand the file. So first of all, as you can see in node app.yaml file, API version, right? Then here you can see deployment, then metadata, and then name node.js, then app node.js, then you can see the app name node.js and so on, then image pool secret. Okay, so here, so that the then image pool secret, and in image pool secret then name registry credentials. So uh, we will learn this, we will check this what's the exactly meaning of this, then container, then container name DevOps, and then image registry. So here we need to enter the image, right? Image name. So how to enter? So first of all, as you can see here, here I mentioned add an image name, right? In 6 step, add an image name. So how to add our image name? So first of all, go to the container registry, right? And then copy our image name. So I'm going to my container registry from here. So how to go to the container registry? So click on deploy and go to the container registry. as you can see here, container registry, right? So if you want to enter the URL here, so you can see the URL from here to here, right? That's our image URL. So I'm going to enter my image URL here, and then my tag is latest, so that's why I'm going to enter latest. Okay, so that is the image, right? Okay, then as I said, that image sorry, that pull image pull secret, and then we will learn. So first of all, here I'm going to add my image name, right? Okay, now the next is here, as you can see, the next is how to add GitLab container registry secret in EKS deployment.yaml file. So here we need to add GitLab container registry secret. So how to add? So here you can see in official page. This is the official page to managing Kubernetes secrets in a GitOps workflow, right? You can see the prerequisite. So first of all, we need a GitLab agent. Then we need to access the cluster to finish to the setup. Okay. So here you can see the steps and the details of our secret, how to add a secret, you can see. And you can see the, you can see here, generate GitLab token with an list read registry types. With a token can be either a personal or project access token. Then create a Kubernetes secrets manifest YAML file, update the values as needed, right? So you can see the command to create our secret. So to creating secret, we need a access token, right? GitLab access token, project access token, and then username. You can see the command kubectl create secret docker registry GitLab credentials, right? Then you can see your docker server registry, then docker username. So here we need a username, GitLab username, right? Then you can see the docker password and so on, right? So here we need this our password, that means personal access token as well as username. So first of all, we need to create this. So here I'm going to go to the settings and go to the repository to creating our secrets, sorry, to creating our token, personal access token. So here if I scroll down, you can see deploy tokens. Deploy tokens allows access to packages. So click on expand, and here we need to click on add token. So enter a name. So my name will be EKS and it's optional. Then I'm going to check it all, right? Then click on create deploy token. So it's done. You can see our token and here also, right? So let's copy and save. So I'm going to paste here. That's my username, and the other one is token. Because you can see deploy token allows to, you can see the note here. Okay, you can see use this token as a password, save it. This password cannot be recovered, so that's why I'm going to copy, paste here. Okay, now it's done, right? Now let's check the command here, right? So let's copy the command and let's enter in our terminal. So here first of all, let's enter in notepad, right? And in notepad, let's enter this credential. So first of all, let's enter this username in here, in our command username. So here docker username, so my username is here, so I'm going to paste my username here, right? Then next is, it will ask our password. Password means our access token. So here you can see token, so I'm going to enter my token here. Okay, now, okay, it's done. So we are going to create this registry credentials.yaml file, and it registry credential.yaml file, that's the data, that means our access username as well as password, and our registry.gitlab.com, that means our URL. So I'm going to copy this command and paste here. So before run this command, so let's clear the screen first. And if I run the ls command, there is no any secret file, right, as you can see. So now I'm going to enter this command. If I run the ls command, as you can see, registry credentials.yaml file. If I open this file to read, so as you can see the details, right? Name registry, and then Kubernetes IO, and the kind secrets and so on, right? Okay. Now, right, it's done. Now the next stage here you can see we have successfully run this command, right? Now the next step is after run this command here, we need to add this image pool secret and the name, and our image pool secret, that means our file name. Our file name is registry credentials, so that's why here I'm mentioned registry credentials, because my file name is registry credentials, right? So that's why here I mentioned image pool secrets and name registry credentials, right? Now after that, image, right, image registry. After that, if I go to my deploy and then container registry, so there is a URL that we are going to copy this, right? That's our image. Okay. Okay. So we are successfully creating our node app.yaml file, right? Now let's commit changes. Okay. So it's done, right? Now let's see the next step. Now the next step is here we need to run this kubectl apply -f registry credentials.yaml to run this our secret, to apply our secret. So as you can see, secret registry credentials created. Okay, it's done. Now it's done. Now let's check. It's time to creating our GitLab CI.yaml file. So how to create? So here is the, you can see, add kubectl variables in our GitLab CI.yaml file. You can see first of all in variable kube context. In kube context here, first of all project name and then agent name, right? So let's create. So before creating our, okay, first of all, let's create. So I'm going to my repository, and here click on this, and let's create new file, or our file name is GitLab CI.yaml file. So let's enter GitLab CI.yaml file, right? So first of all here, let's enter the variable, right? So here in variable, our variable first is kube context, right? In kube context here, we need this project name and agent name. So here you can see here I mentioned, so first of all variable repository. In repository here I mentioned DevOps hint, right? Then image tag latest, then kube context. In kube context, the example, the syntax is first of all your repository, then colon, and then your agent name, right? Then, so let's copy first and then, okay, so let's understand one by one. So first of all, in variable repository DevOps scene, right? Then image tag latest. Then in kube context, the syntax is first of all your repository URL, right? Then your colon and then agent name. So here is my repository URL. So I'm going to copy this and let's enter here and then colon and then your agent name. So my agent name is sample, right? Okay, then default before script, here we need the docker information. After that stage, first of all docker build, then push and then deploy to EKS. So in docker build, here you can see stage docker build, and in script docker login hyphen u deploy user hyphen p ci deploy password, then ci registry. So that's our variable. So that's we need to add our variables, right? So as of now we don't have any variables, so first of all we need to add our variables. So right, so first of all let's add our ci registry variable. That means our here, that means our url from here to here. So let's add our variable first. So how to add? So go to the settings, then CI CD, then variables, click on expand, and then add variables, then key. So first of all, let's enter CI registry, right? So let's go. So let's paste the value first. That means our URL, and here is our CI registry. So I'm going to use this here. Then remove this expand variable, sorry, remove this protect variable flag, and then click on add variables. Okay, now the next is ci deploy user. That means our access token user that we have just created, right? And the value is here that we have just copied here, right? Then remove protect variable flag and then click on add variables. Then next is our CI deploy password. That means our access token. And the access token is here. Okay, remove protect variable flag and click on add variable. Okay, it's done. We have successfully added these three variables: deploy, CI deploy password, CI deploy user, as well as CI register registry. Okay, it's done. So first of all, it's going to Docker login, and then it will ask the user password and the registry, right? Then push to the registry, then deploy to the EKS, right? So first of all, stage deploy to EKS, image name, and the tag, right? Then before script kubectl configs, use the context, kube context. Here is kube context, right? Then script. In script, you can see kubectl apply hyphen f and then node app.yaml file that we have just created, right? Okay, so first of all, here after commit changes, so first of all here it will, okay, if I click on commit changes, it will give us error. Which error? Docker, because as of now we don't have any Docker in our GitLab runner. You can see here first of all Docker information and so on. So as of now we don't have Docker, right? So first of all we need to install Docker. So if I Click on commit changes. And if I go to the build and pipelines, so it's failed. Why? Let's check. As you can see, Docker command not found. That means we need to install Docker first. So right, as you can see, Docker command not found. That means we need to install Docker first, right? So if I enter here Docker images, you can see we don't have any Docker, right? So that's why we need to install Docker first using this command. So I'm going to enter this command to install Docker. Sorry. Let's update our system package. So the apt update. And now let's clear the screen first and then install Docker. Okay, so yes. Now here we need to give some permissions to install Docker after that. So here I mentioned some permissions, right? So we need to enter this command first. And then next command for chmod 666. So we need to install Docker as well as we need to give some permissions. Okay, it's done. Now it's done. Now the next step is if I go to my repository here. Here if I go to my repository, so here we need to create some files, right? Because this is node.js project, so that's why here we need to create some files. Which files? Package.json file, then docker file, and then server.js file, right? So first of all we need to create these files. So let's create our files. Click on new file. So here in my repository I have files. That means I have a node.js project, so that's why I'm going to use this. So our file name is, first of all, let's create package.json file, right? So here is my file. I have a node.js project, so that's why I'm going to use this package.json file. So let's copy the file package.json. So here I'm going to enter. Okay, so as you can see the details. now let's commit changes. Now the next file is our Docker file, right? We need to create Docker file. So let's create. Let's create server.js file here, right? So let's open server.js file. And that one our Docker file, right? So let's rename this. That's our Docker file. So let's rename this file. Now the next is let's create package.json file. Okay, so now as you can see, we have successfully created Docker file, package.json file, and server.js file, right? Okay. Now here the last step is we need to update this nodeapp.yaml file. Why? Because if you remember here, when we create our nodeapp.yaml file, uh, then I told you that here as of now we don't have any globe file, so that's why here, right, we need to that's why we comment these lines here, right? So now let's open this file, sorry, let's open this config file. Let's open this config file. If you remember, when we create our config.yaml file, then the in globe file there is, we need to we comment these lines for globe files here, right, in past. Why? Because I told you that as of now we don't have any globe file, that's why here we need we comment these lines, right? Then we are going to create, we will create our nodeapp.yaml file, right? So firstly we create this config.yaml file, then we create our nodeapp.yaml file. So that's why we don't have any globe file in that time. So now we have a globe file, which file? Nodeapp.yaml file. So we need to set this path here, right? So that's why we need to update our config.yaml file. So let's edit. And here enter, firstly uncomment this line, and here in globe file set the path. So our globe file name is nodeapp.yaml, right? So yeah, it's correct, right? Nodeapp.yaml. So now we have a globe file, so that's why here we need to set the paths of our globe file, right? Our directory. So our file name is nodeapp.yaml file. So let's update, commit changes, and then let's check our pipeline. So as you can see, our pipeline is running. So let's check the status. So our first job is complete, right? Pass Docker, no, build Docker image. Then now in push to registry, it's running. So let's check. So it's also passed. You can see job succeed. Now let's go to the third, deploy to EKS. So let's check. So as you can see, it's also passed. You can see the status pass, right? You can see the fetching changes, the checkout, then skipping this, and you can see kubectl config use context, right? So here the context is right. You can see the URL of our repository, then colon and our agent name sample. Then kubectl apply hyphen app node app.yaml file. So you can see service node.js created, right? You can see deployment.apps node.js created, right? So let's check. So go to the terminal and enter the command kubectl get pods. So let's see the pods. So as you can see, the status is running and one of one, right? That means we are successfully run our job. Then next is, let's check kubectl get deploy deployment. Let's check the deployment. So as you can see, the deployment node.js and the age is 77 seconds ago. Here also 59 seconds ago. That means just created. Up to date one. Okay. Now let's check the service. kubectl get SVC. That means service. So you can see the port number and age is 90 seconds, 92 seconds ago, and the name is Node.js, type is load balancer, right? Cluster IP and the external IP. Now let's access in browser, that's the external IP, and let's access our image. So here our image is hello world. As you can see, the image, right? So it's done. So here we have learned how to deploy Node.js app on AWS EKS using GitLab CI CD. So thank you for watching.